Hey everyone, it's Presley.com here, and since we started up a Patreon, we promised you guys that we would do some writing stuff. We would show you guys our progress on our book and do some writing live chats and stuff like that.
Chats, and even use some people's names in the book.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, what we have done is written a few chapters, maybe?
Yeah, so like a year ago or 2 years ago or
Probably
more,
two.
we wrote like 5 chapters maybe.
Wow,
when
okay,
we first
that's more than I
started, when we first started working on this, we wrote like the first 5 chapters. But neither of us have read it in forever. We haven't done anything. So since we're gonna start writing again,
we're gonna read them.
We're gonna read what we wrote like 5
And
years
we can't change it because it's the first draft. And it's making me so angry.
It's a very strict rule to write is your first draft.
Right.
You do not edit while you're writing the first
and the
draft.
thing is, like over the past year or so, the story that I have has gone through a lot of changes. And it's probably going to be really kind of inaccurate. And I can't change it until I do the edit.
The next chapter will change and align. Even if like from chapter to chapter there's huge jumps in what's going on.
We'll fix it eventually.
Totally fine. When you go back and do the first rewrite, you clean it up. But there's no matter what we think of this stuff, there's no rewriting.
Right. We're going to point out some of the stuff
We're definitely not going to start over. Yeah, so we'll call over, like you would call out a couple of like sentences or like ideas or something that we really think works, and then we'll call out some stuff that we think doesn't work.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So part of it is going to be watching us read. We're not going to read the whole thing out loud because I think that's
that'd be
not a great idea.
No.
So we'll read a little bit and then we'll just edit and cut to like calling out some interesting things.
Yeah.
Deal?
Deal.
All right, let's read. You ready?
Yeah.
Off we go. Okay, I like that even.
I like the first sentence.
Well, it's always, first sentences are important,
That is a
right?
good first sentence.
Okay, you want to read the first sentence and stop chewing your nails?
Sorry. When you spend enough time around something, it's easy to forget how special it is. That was especially true of Estelle Croix's tinkering. She had been doing it since before she could talk. She'd pick up a couple things in her tiny little hands and stick them together to make something magical. And that's the first pair. The opening. I like that. I think.
Well, and then it carries on with like that concept, right? At first, her parents were amazed every time she'd invent some new contraption to help with her chores or aggravate her brother.
Wait, she had a brother?
Apparently.
Okay.
But soon it became so commonplace to them that they stopped noticing.
And now I can tell that I was 9 when you wrote this.
Why?
That sentence mentions that I'm 9, and I know
when she was only 9, yeah.
So I was probably 9 because I insisted that she must have done something cool when I was my age.
Right. No, I'm happy with the opening paragraph.
Yes.
That works for me. That's a good start.
I forgot she had a brother. Well, I'll have to develop him because I don't feel like getting rid of him.
And that may have been Cooper related.
That was definitely Cooper related.
Yeah, I mean, I remember having that conversation, okay? And so like this, like the next thing, like when she was 9, she made some modification to an artificial leg. Like that's a little much.
Hello.
That's a little,
Are you
probably a little too far. We might want to roll back. Like I like the idea that she changed something, like an appliance or something like in the house that she has no business messing around with.
Machine.
But her access to an artificial leg
she just walked up to the person and just started playing with her leg.
Would probably be limited. All right, hold on.
He's in this book.
Okay, what?
It's a domino.
Oh,
Named
yeah.
the cat Domino.
There's a cat named Domino, and I don't remember that. Didn't remember that either.
See, he's here.
You're a little bit ahead.
Oh,
hold on.
I read really fast. My boy, he's here.
Okay, hold on.
Oh my God, what just happened?
Okay.
Oh, I remember that part. That part was a strange experience.
Okay, so I'm here.
Wait, I need to lose myself. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, so this is foreshadowing. It's about that time she started to see how the human body was just a machine.
Oh no, I didn't catch the foreshadowing in my own story.
So that's pretty strong foreshadowing, and not even a particularly complicated one. I like that.
That's a cool one.
No, that's good.
I remember paper.
I'm proud of us for that one.
I remember Mousebot. Mousebot was.
Yeah, I liked Mousebot too. So she makes a little like mouse robot out of like a can and stuff, and it like scurries across the desk. But she's starting at the beginning of the book. Estelle is thinking about the human body as a machine, and how she can recreate it and maybe even improve it. And so she's working with like the brain and trying to make simple little brains for little rodents and stuff. And so like her Mousebot has like some AI. Yeah. But it's not very good yet because she's freaking out, and so it has like a panic attack kind of and freaks out. Yeah.
Most relatable character in the book, Mousebot.
So she made I don't remember that she made a domino.
She made Domino. He created my cat. I can't believe she created my cat in real life. Scroll down.
Oh, she scavenged parts from Robo-Domino.
Oh no! Rusted Pepper is the cat. Domino is hecking dead.
That's kind of sad.
Why would you do that, Estelle? You monster. Middle school students about to graduate high school. Huh, I don't know nothing about that. I'm just gonna trust your word.
Well, you're almost there.
I'm not in school.
She put her first brain in the mouse pot.
Her first, of the many she has developed, of the many brains she has, she put the first one. It's like that one tweet about like growing your first boob. Mm-hmm. That was an interesting tweet. I don't remember where I saw that.
What?
That was a strange
That's a different
tweet.
thing.
That was a very fun tweet.
That does actually sound familiar, but I can't remember it.
Neither.
She made a note to study some more well-adjusted people in the future, if she ever met some.
You're not gonna meet some sweetie. I'm sorry.
It hadn't happened yet.
Yeah, your friends in the future, they're not as. They're probably more stressed out.
I think we did base this on you.
I mean, he's like very much definitely based off of me.
Oh, Mousebot.
Rest in pepperoni.
Committed suicide.
Well, I don't think they did that on purpose.
It's a little bit of a dark start to the book.
It's gonna set the tone of the rest of the book. It's
Robo-Domino gets scavenged for parts and Mousebot jumps off the desk to kill himself.
Well, that's not gonna change much in the foreshadowing, kind of, a little bit, not really.
See, more foreshadowing.
More foreshadowing.
She'd have to find a way to turn down the emotions a little bit. And maybe a way to let it think through the problem a little better than deciding to jump off the desk into the trash can.
Whoa, spooky foreshadowing. Gosh, this is weird reading her as like a child. She's so little. Because the current version of her, like, I have a timeline I'm working on in my head, and I'm fine with everything so far. And the point that I'm working on right now, she's 18. Mm-hmm. And she's like, how old in this book? 13? 14? Small. She's my age in this book. Mm-hmm. So it's weird seeing her like a baby.
I'm okay with this too. She had a few friends at school, but it was like they only existed when she was in the building. They didn't go over to each other's houses or shopping at the mall or the movies together like other friends did. But she wouldn't even that anymore. Oh, because she's going to a new.
Yeah, she skipped a grade.
Yeah. So it made her panic like a first generation Mousebot on a too tall desk.
That's a really cool one. That's really cool. You just have to find a trash can somewhere to throw herself into. Big mood! Big mood!
That's a good line. She'd have to find a trash can somewhere to throw. I'm happy. I'm proud of that too. I'm totally proud of that. Okay, this is not as bad as I was afraid it was going to be. It's rougher. It's rougher around the edges, but I think the core of what we got here is actually not too bad.
Well, I mean, relatable. And the recycle bin in her closet. Why does she have a recycle bin in her closet?
Because she has parts that she's going to use later.
Oh, I thought
not like a triangle recycle bin that she needs to take to the dump later.
Toward her first day of high school. Oh boy, you laughed at me when I wrote about this one time. Okay.
I love her shirt.
Oh, it's the cereal description.
Is the cereal one on here?
The cereal thing is in here.
Wait. Yeah, okay, so we'll find the cereal thing. But I invented a shirt for the book that she wears her first day of school, and it's got a train on it, and I think it's like an animated like Thomas the Train kind of thing with like train tracks on it, and it says "Not that kind of engineer."
I want that shirt. I thought that
shirt
existed.
That's a good shirt.
I want that shirt. Make that shirt happen.
I totally made that up for
that should be our merch. Is that
for the purpose of this book. And there was another one that I think she wanted. She says something like, "Yeah, there's
the cereal thing. The cereal thing."
All right, hold on. Let's read the cereal thing.
I want a pasta.
Oh, okay, right. So she knew her mom's tricks by. Oh, okay, I got it. Now.
This is the cereal thing.
She knew her mom's tricks by this point. The stuff she wanted her to wear, that her mom wanted her to wear, was front and center in the closet and easy to get to, like the sugary cereal in a grocery store. Eye level for a kid and too easy for them to grab from their seat in the cart. The pastel flower shirt, which her mom had laid out for her, was the Captain Crunch of the closet right now, and she wasn't falling for it. The healthy stuff was far off to the sides where the clothes disappeared behind the wall into the little hidden pocket of the closet that no one ever sees. This was the bottom shelf of high fiber goodness. It was also where her black and white stained t-shirts always seemed to end up when her mom did laundry. She pulled a faded black t-shirt that had a train on the front and said "Not that kind of engineer" in block print underneath it.
I'm gonna ignore that and pretend it was brown because I imagined it brown.
And we have a winner, she said. slipping out of her sleep shirt and into the black tea.
And this is the weird.
She did this in a way that many people would find odd, and some would suggested she needed counseling.
I don't remember this part.
She slipped one arm out of the sleep shirt and then slipped that arm into the black tea before taking the sleep shirt the rest of the way off. Then she slipped the sleep shirt over her head and immediately popped her head into the new tea. And finally, she slid the other arm out of that one shirt and into the other. This way, she was able to minimize the amount of time she was naked. And in fact, in this case, she was able to change shirts without ever being entirely naked at all.
Like, what? I'm so confused. I don't remember.
I don't remember that, but I think it's funny.
I think Presley does that.
No, I think.
No, I don't.
You don't? Yeah.
Did I?
Yeah, you used to do that. That comes from you too.
Oh, did I? I don't remember that at all.
She wasn't sure. No, she wasn't sure when she decided she wasn't comfortable being naked, but it has been as long as she could remember. And she had created a lot of little rituals around dressing and undressing to minimize the amount of time her skin saw the light of day.
That's part of why she's ridiculously pale.
Well, there you go.
She's really pale. Save her.
So she changed into her pants, one leg out of sweats and into jeans before the other.
Look.
And put on her shoes, sock, shoe, instead of both socks and both shoes. So that's me.
That
totally came from me. Me and one of my friends in high school used to have this whole thing about sock, shoe, instead of sock, shoe.
Does anyone
That doesn't
do that?
make sense to anybody, but I had to put it in here since I was describing weird dressing habits.
Does anyone do that?
I don't know. Sock, shoe is just an awesome way to get dressed. It says this one she did just to be different.
Yeah.
As if she really needed any kind of a boost there.
She does not. Herself.
Yeah, okay, so there's a typo. We may actually fix the typo.
I type like that actually, though.
Finally, she stood back and looked at the mirror. Her eyes. Measured her
against her own idea of what normal people look like. Why?
See, again, that's a good line. That's a really good line.
That's really
I like
good.
that.
You should not do that, Estelle. That's not healthy.
Looking at herself in the mirror, she could see that she was kind of pretty in a way that almost made her uncomfortable. So that's
That was a thing that I remember very strongly.
She never liked it when she thought someone was looking at her and then she could tell that they were thinking she was pretty. The last thing she wanted to be or wanted people to think about her. People see pretty and they stop at that and feel like they know everything about you, while pretty didn't even begin to describe her at all. She wanted to have a shirt printed that said, "But I'm a mess on the inside."
I need that. Hello? Give me?
But she knew no one would get that one either. See, look, that's a good shirt too.
Yeah, no, we get lots of merch.
That should be ActOutGames merch right there. But I'm a mess on the inside.
That's our new slogan.
So Nathan Zed has good enough, and you have, but I'm a mess on the inside.
You should combine them.
That is a really good paragraph.
I know.
Again, I am really proud of that. She never liked
that.
it when someone was looking at her and she could tell they were thinking she was pretty because they see pretty and they stop. That's a really, I like that.
I like that.
I'm very happy.
How did you know her orientation before I did? She's, by the way, in case anyone's wondering, she's very romantic. That's a cool fact about her. I love her a lot. She's your favorite. Is that the first chapter?
Yeah, that's the first chapter. So we may stop at the first chapters because this is kind of a long video for today. And we'll do the other chapter. So we're going to do this same kind of review of the other chapters that we've already written over on the Patreon page.
Okay.
Right? Because we've promised people over there that we're going to be turning out content for the patrons. We'll probably talk about some of this stuff, and then we're going to start getting into our writing days. So I feel so relieved because I actually really like this.
Yeah, I mean, both of you can write so well. So I don't know why you don't just do it.
I love this paragraph.
I know, I like that.
I'm really happy with that paragraph.
We need to keep that. That would be...
And I really like both of her shirts. We need to design both of her shirts.
Yeah. I know what I thought I looked like. I didn't assume they looked like.
Yeah.
And also she has it's very interesting because this was my dress style at the time, but ever since wearing a pastel shirt right now and a skirt. But it's interesting because I know she would not change her dressing styles would not change with the way I've changed at all. Thank you. Herself.
Damn it. Right, got it. Yeah, no, this is really good, Presley. I think we did a pretty good job when we wrote this. It's still got some little rough edges and stuff, but this builds her character as a first, not even chapter, but scene. These are more scenes than chapters.
Right.
But as a first scene, this is really good. I feel like I know a lot about her right now.
Right.
And it's show, don't tell.
And this isn't inaccurate. This is her.
Showing her little dressing rituals tells a lot about her without saying she's neurotic. You're not putting those kinds of words about her in there. You're showing behaviors that let the reader understand what's going on in her head. So yeah.
Oh my god, my daughter. I'm so proud of her.
Awesome. No, she did. It's really good. I feel very relieved. I was afraid this was going to be much worse.
Wait, how many of these are there?
Well, so we've got.
Oh
well, these are all. So we've already outlined all of the scenes.
Okay, so all of those are written.
No, we haven't written these. No. So we have the outline of like the ones with the little text in it are the ones we've written. So all of these we have not written. But we have the outline of every scene that gets us all the way to the thing, and we've written
all the way to where?
To the end of the book.
I remember this.
So we've written 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scenes that probably make up.
Oh my god, I love Vicky.
Probably make up a couple of chapters have been written.
Okay, so first I'm gonna point something out on this video because I think it's important enough that people who don't have that aren't on the Patreon can understand this. There's a character later on in the book named Jordan, and I didn't remember who he was until about 5 seconds ago.
Okay.
And this was so I'm not gonna spoil anything, but he's named after a real kid that I didn't like. I didn't like Jordan. I didn't like this kid named Jordan because he got on my Minecraft server and griefed everything. So I hated him.
I remember that. Okay. I was gonna say you probably shouldn't say that, but you can totally say that about that kid because I had to clean up a bunch of that stuff.
Yeah. So I didn't like this kid. I don't even know if he's existed anymore.
The chapter is Jordan explains kid power and Memento in The Office.
The Office.
So he's like the office assistant-y kind of guy?
Yeah, that's Jordan. Why are you not doing your job, Addison?
What was the guy's name?
Oh yeah, she's on break. Never mind.
What was the guy's name in Percy Jackson? That was the turncoat kind of guy.
Dionysus?
No. The kid at
Chiro?
camp. No, the kid at the camp that gave him the winged shoes that turned out to be.
Luke?
Is it Luke? Was that his name?
The guy that has the big scar on his face? That was the evil.
Yeah.
I hated Luke.
That started the book.
I hated Luke.
Is Jordan the Luke of this book, or is he?
Yeah, I think he's Luke.
Kind of.
That's a spoiler.
Luke-ish. That's okay.
He's Luke. He's Luke. Yeah.
We're one scene that was awesome. I feel very relieved.
I know, right? It's
we
fun.
will read the next 4 on camera. We'll put, if you guys like this, we'll post some more of them here.
Yeah.
If you guys don't care about it, then we'll post them over on the Patreon page. Maybe we'll post some on the we'll post some on the Patreon page because there are certainly people there that are actively engaged in the writing process. They're signing up to support the writing process. So we definitely want to share with them. So we'll balance it out and figure out what we're gonna do. But yeah, that's good. So we'll read these over the next couple of days. We'll shoot some videos and then we'll get started writing again.
Yeah, cool. Can I read the outline? Not on camera. I just need to read
of course.
that so that I make notes.
Of course.
All right, cool. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Don't tell me.
I'm sorry. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm so happy that this was still faithful to her character right now, and this is still like good, and it's not as bad as I thought it would be, and I'm very happy about it, and I'm really excited to read the rest of it and start working on it again. Yeah, notifications, all that jazz to keep up with what's going on. Yeah. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Bye, guys.